Good day, students. Myself, Miss Clara, 7th Geography. Lesson 2, the Sun, the Moon, and the Earth. Look at the image carefully. It's an image of Earth's orbit. The Earth's orbit is oval shape. What is an oval shape? An oval shape is egg-like shape. Here you can see the Earth's orbit and its orbital motion. The image of the moon's orbit. Again, look at this picture carefully. Record it in your mind. Capture it through the camera of your mind. Based on this, our picture, our further lesson continues. Like the Earth, Moon also has an axial and orbital motion. What is axial motion? When the Earth goes around its axis. And orbital motion when it goes around its orbit. Moon, while rotating around itself, revolves around the Earth and the Earth around the Sun. Here is an image of the lesson from your textbook. Geographical explanation of the picture that we saw. Moon's orbit of revolution is also elliptical as that of the Earth. Now, Moon's orbit of revolution also is elliptical as that of the Earth, as I said it earlier. Hence, the distance of the Moon from the Earth is not same everywhere. You can see here the distance is mentioned in figures. Along with the orbit while revolving, it is closest to the Earth is said to be perigee. Can you see perigee over here in the figure? Perigee is when Moon is closest to the Earth and it is 356,500 kilometers. I repeat, 356,500 kilometers. That is perigee when it is closest to the Earth. And when the Moon is furthest, that is very far, very far, that is known as apogee. And the distance measured is 4,06,700 kilometer. It's clearly shown. The image is clear and you can see it in the image. The phases of the Moon. You can see here the phases of the Moon. In this picture, if you see, students, the Moon is changing its shape every day. I'm sorry. The Moon is changing its size every day. And we are going to understand the phases of the Moon. You have studied the phases of the Moon also in standard 6. You have studied phases of the Moon in standard 6. You know how it waxes from new moon to the full moon day. Waxing is when the size of the moon goes increasing. What is a new moon day? New moon day is when you do not see the moon in the sky. The term is called as Amavasya. When you do not see the moon in the sky. That is called the new moon day. So if you have studied the phases of the moon, as I said, students, in standard 6th, you know how it waxes from new moon to full moon. That means the moon, from new moon to full moon, the size of the moon is increasing. Crescent moon, where you can see here it's quarter, then half moon. Slowly the size goes on increasing to full moon. Full moon is when you see the moon bright in the sky. It's called Purnima. You may have heard these Amavasya Purnima terms from your parents, your grandparents. And later it shows the relative position, both quarters, from full moon to new moon day. Then again gradually after 15 days. This cycle is of 15 days. From full moon, you'll find the size of the moon slowly diminishing. Slowly getting smaller. Smaller and smaller. And finally, it comes to new moon. That is, you do not see the moon again. Let me repeat again, students. The phases of the moon. First we saw from new moon, that is zero moon. There is no moon in the sky. The size of the moon goes increasing, and that is known as waning of the moon. That is known as the waxing of the moon. And when the moon decreases, it's known as a waning of the moon. We have studied the phases of the moon. We know how it waxes from new moon to full moon, and how it wanes from full moon to new moon. Now students, if you have understood what is waxing and waning, you are going to write in the comment box. Okay? Simultaneously, as we are watching the video, you are going to write in comment box what is waxing of the moon you followed, what you understood by waxing of the moon, and what you understood by the waning of the moon. Also, you're going to mention in the comment box what is a new moon and what is a full moon. Again, here we can see very clearly. Look at this image. New moon. There's no moon in the sky. Then the little young, can you see that white color? Slightest moon. Then waxing crescent, waxing quarter, and waxing gibbous. Then we come to full moon, bright moon, waning gibbous, waning quarter, waning crescent, and the old. Okay students, we move further, and we are going to look here also again to understand carefully the degrees of the angle that the moon happens to show during its waxing phase and its waning phase. The image of the lunar eclipse. Now we are going to further proceed towards eclipse. I'll explain you later in the later part of the video. Here is the image of the solar eclipse. Keep this image captured in the camera of your mind. Now, let's understand the term eclipse. What is eclipse? An obscuring of the light. Obscuring of the light means something which obstructs, something which stops the light from one celestial body. What is a celestial body? Heavenly body. But the passage of the another between it and the observer, or between it, sources of illusion. Solar eclipse. Now let us understand better. See the picture very clearly. The picture is clear enough. Look at it. The sun, the moon, and the earth. Now I used the word obscuring in my previous slide. The sunlight is obstructed by moon. Why? Obstructed, stopping. The moon is stopping the sunlight from reaching the earth. Now why is it so? Because the moon has come in between the earth and the sun. And so you can see a black arrow. Black arrow, or a triangle I could say rather. An arrow showing over there. The sun, the moon, the earth. I repeat again students. The sun, the moon, the earth in this image is shown. The moon is obstructing the image, the light of the sun from reaching the earth. And that part of the region of the earth where the light is stopped by the moon, then we say an eclipse is caused. And since this eclipse is caused by sun, we call it solar eclipse. Now let's study the definition. If the moon is in between the sun and the earth, the shadow of the moon falls on the earth. At such time, the three objects are on same plane and in one line. Hence, the place of the earth where moon's shadow falls experiences solar eclipse. We again come back to the image after having understood the definition. Here, I repeat, the sun, the moon and the earth are in one plane, where the moon is obstructing the sunlight from reaching the earth. And that region or that part of the earth where the sunlight is not received due to moon's obstruction is the area where solar eclipse occurs. What is a total solar eclipse? Again, capture the picture into the camera of your mind. Look at it very carefully. Earth, moon, sun. Earth's orbit. You can see the dotted lines in the picture? Yes. Total, partial, moon's orbit. Again a dotted line showing you. Sun's diameter, moon's diameter. Umbra and penumbra. Now, like this you won't understand. Let us see. Let us understand total solar eclipse. The shadow of the moon. Which shadow am I talking about? Moon. Are of two types. How many types? Two types. The central portion of the shadow is darker and the periphery is light. Come back to the image. Look at the central portion. Isn't it darker? The shadow of the moon. The central part. Isn't it darker? And the periphery is light. In the area of the dark portion, the dark shadow on the earth, the sun becomes completely invisible, known as complete solar eclipse. However, during the same place, somewhere the shadow is light. The sun disk is partially covered. The condition is described as partial solar eclipse. Again, let us see. Can you see somewhere the sunlight is reaching? The light green image. The light green image is the image where the sunlight is reaching. Students, I'm asking you to look at the image of the earth. The light green image is where the sunlight is reaching, and that is known as partial eclipse. But where the darker image, see where the dark shadows, somewhat grayish green, there we call it to be total eclipse. Annular solar eclipse. This is a current image of annular solar eclipse which occurred on 26th of December 2019. Image of a annular solar eclipse. Again you can see how the moon is obstructing the sunlight from reaching the earth. Okay students, let's go further. Sometimes the moon is in apogee position. This means furthest from the earth. We had studied this or understood this in the first unit of the chapter where I happened to introduce the lesson. As a result, the deep shadow of the moon is cast in space, does not reach the earth. For a very small region of the earth, only an illuminated edge of the sun disk is seen in a form of a ring. Come back to this image. Annular solar eclipse. Annular solar eclipse is where the image is seen in a ring shape. Can you see a bright bright image, slightly yellowish and orangish in color. That area is where the annular solar eclipse has occurred. Again, over here you can see the same. Now this will give you this thing, annular solar eclipse image, which took place in Goa. This is from current affairs.